All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with looking at some stuff on matrices. You should not be continuing your conversation, but instead look up here while I'm going over this. Okay. We're going to write and solve this linear system equation in the following situation. Hint, there are 3 variables. Okay, 3 orders are placed at a pizza shop. Let's make P equal to pizza. We'll say L equals liters of pop. Stop talking. We'll say S equals salads. Okay, and that's the price of each of these. Okay, so one order was 2 pizzas, a liter of pop, and a salad, and it cost us $14. Okay? The next order that was placed is 1 pizza, 1 liter of pop, and 3 salads, and that cost $15. And then we have 3 pizzas, 1 liter of pop, and 2 salads, and that costs $22. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, so I've just made 3 equations, just, made the variables something. Riley, you want to get the lights? Maybe it would be easier for some people to see. And then I'm just setting up the equation, what the total cost they equal. Okay, so now what we're going to do is kind of a little bit of a process. We're going to take it and eliminate something and then solve for that and so on, and eliminate 2 things so we can figure it out. Riley, will you also pull the door closed? Thank you. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to eliminate, because I think it'll be the easiest, is the liter of pop. So you guys really got to pay attention to this. This is a little bit complicated. Okay, so I've got 2P plus L plus S equals 14. I just rewrote this down. And this second one, I'm just going to multiply it by -1 and then rewrite it under here. Okay? So that's -1P minus L minus 3S equals -15. So all I did was take this equation that I have written down and times it by a -1. I'm going to do the elimination method, just like we've been doing over and over again. Okay? Now I'm going to add straight down. I get 1P, the L's are gone, minus 2S equals -1. Okay? Do you see how it eliminated L? L is gone. That's why we did the elimination method, right? So I'm down to 2 variables instead of 3. I'm not sure why you're confused, because it's the exact same thing we've been doing this whole time when you got this amazing grade on your quiz. Elimination method. Okay, so you see how I just ignored the last one? I'm just taking these 2 and I'm canceling something out. I just took that and wrote it right here. And I took this one and I times it by -1. Yeah, salad. Yep. Times the second one by -1 because I wanted the L's to cancel. See, this is how an L and this is an L. If one of them was negative, so I just times it by -1, just like I do with elimination method. Back table, if you continue to talk, I will move all your seats. Knock it off. Yes?
I understand your way.
Yes.
But you could just do the process of elimination just with the problems
So
that they gave you.
we're going to keep doing it this way because I'm going to show you a fast way to do it. Process of elimination, if you tried to do that like on the SAT, you would spend your entire time doing that one problem instead of it. So I'm going to show you a shorter way to do it once we're doing it my way. Okay? So no, this is 1 salad, this is 3 salads. So they can't cancel. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite the top one again. See how I'm just rewriting the top one? Any questions about me rewriting it? Now I'm going to rewrite the bottom one, but I'm also going to times the bottom one by a -1. So I get -3P minus L minus 2S equals -22. Now I'm going to add these straight down. It's going to cancel out L. So I get negative P minus S equals, and if we go 22, negative 22 and 14 gives me a negative 8. Now I have these two equations which neither of them have L in it. Emmanuel, you can go to Miss Huff's room. She's giving the quiz. So just go over there. Take the quiz. Okay, so now I'm going to put them together. I've got P minus 2S equals negative 1. And I've got negative P minus S equals negative 8. I'm going to add those together. These cancel, and I'm left with negative 3S equals negative 9. I divide both sides by negative 3. And I get S equals 3. I know salads cost $3. Okay. Now I can plug it back into this equation right here. Negative P minus 3 equals negative 8. Add 3 to both sides. Negative P equals negative 5. Divide by negative 1. P equals 5. Okay, now I'm going to take both of these and plug them back into this original problem. So I have 2P plus, I have 2 times 5 plus L plus 3 equals 14. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus L plus 3 equals 14. 10 plus 3 is 13. Plus L equals 14. So L will equal 1. A liter of pop costs $1. Pizza costs $5. Soda costs $3. That was really long, right? We had to do elimination twice, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I just get an answer. I had to plug that back in, and then I had to take those two and plug it into another one. Do you guys want to do that every time you've got 3 different variables? No. Good, because you won't have to do this. Okay? I'm going to show you a quicker way. It's called a matrices. Now, this is new, and this is a little weird looking, but it is so much faster. You are going to need a calculator. So if you do not have a calculator, please go get one now. And I'm going to show you how to make this easier. So I'm going to rewrite the equations that I have down. So you don't have to do this. You can turn yours over and do it on the back if you want. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a matrices. Okay, and I'm going to go through in just a second and explain all of what a matrices is. But let me show you how fast this is to do, and then I'll go into more detail of how I'm doing it. So with a matrices, I take one matrices and I make it a coefficient matrices. And I take all these numbers in front, and I'm just listing them. Okay? And I'm going to take it to the -1 power, and I'm going to explain more why we do that. It's just kind of a process that we do. And then I have this thing called the answer matrices. We can call it something different in a second. When I put this in my calculator, it gives me 3 numbers, and it will give it to me just like this. It will say pizza's 5. It'll say liters 1, and it'll say soda 3, and it'll be done. I just have to put this in my calculator, and it gives me this as my answer, and I'm all 100% finished. That was pretty fast, right? I could write the equations. Most of you did that for homework, or if you had tried your homework, you could have done it for homework. You just put the numbers in front to the -1 times this. You put it in your calculator, and you get your answers. That takes me a lot less time than going through and eliminating something. So now, I need you guys to pull out your notebooks. I'm going to go over a few notes on matrices. So we're going to do a few notes right here on matrices. Okay. So please write this down on your notebook. If you don't have your notebook with you, write it on some pieces of paper. It's going to make your life a lot easier to do the classwork and homework for today. Okay? So we're going to use matrices to solve systems of equations. And I do need you guys to keep your calculators out in front of you because we're going to actually type some of this into our calculators to figure this out. Okay. Yeah, I can. Let me see. I hit... nope. Go back. Go back. So it's kind of hard because I cannot do a touch screen on my thing. Nope. I want to just run it.
Press F11.
Okay, I'm trusting you. Nothing happened.
That should be.
All right, hold on. Yeah, sorry, this is taking a minute.
Oh, I like your sticker.
Want to just slideshow. Okay. So it's gonna be a little weird. So sorry for people at home who are trying to read this. Okay. So we're gonna do these matrices. We're going to look at, we have solved systems using graphing, but now we're learning how to do it using matrices. This will be particularly useful when we have equations with 3 variables. You saw how long that took with 3 variables, right? We want to make that faster. Okay? Before you start, make sure that both of your equations are in standard form and the variables are in the same order. Alphabetical order usually works the best.
What's the date?
Today is the 15th.
15. Woo!
Halfway through. Okay. Setting up matrices. Okay, here's a given system of equations. Okay? So, how many variables do you guys see?
2.
2. So there's going to be 2 equations. There will be 2 rows. Okay, how many variables do you see?
2.
2. So there's going to be 2 columns. Okay, so write this example down. If you haven't written anything down yet, that's fine. Just write this example down so that you can see how I'm going to switch it into a matrices. So we've got negative 2x minus 6y equals 0 and 3x plus 11y equals 4. Now we're going to work on setting up this matrices. We ready?
No.
Negative 2x minus 6y equals 0. 3x plus 11y equals 4. Okay, I'm going to move to the next slide, guys. All right. There are 3 parts to a matrices equation. The first part, the coefficient matrix. The second part, the variable matrix, and the third part, the constraint matrix. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to place the coefficients into the matrices. You ready? So you make those little weird big brackets, and you're going to have negative 2, negative 6, 3, and 11. See how the x's are all in a line? The y's are all in a line. X is all in a line, y is all in a line. Okay? Then we're going to talk about your variable matrix. You ready? I want to make sure you got this down. You need these both as example. Negative 2 minus 6y equals 0. 3x plus 11y equals 4. Your coefficient matrices gives you negative 2, negative 6, 3, 11. Got it?
No.
Do you see where they came from, though? See how the negative 2 is here, negative 2 here, 3 here, 3 here. It's kind of lined up like that's lined up. We feel okay about that?
What if there's another number?
Where they should be in standard form. If they have 2 variables, there shouldn't be another number. It should look just like this. If there's 3 variables, there would be another row and another column here. Okay, next. Your variable matrix will consist of, in this case, X or Y. If there was a third one, we could put C. The matrices, let's go back. The matrices are multiplied and represent the left side of our matrix. So it looks like this. Negative 2x minus 6, 3 and 11, x and y. There will be a shortcut to it, but I would start with this because when we go, like in Algebra 2 Part 2, you might talk more about matrices. You're going to need to know all this stuff. Okay, next. The right side consists of our constants, the 2 equations. So see where we got 0 and 4? That's going to be your constants. 0, 4. Now we're going to put it all together. You ready? This is what it should look like. Put it all together. We should get negative 2, negative 6, 3, 11, x over y equals 0 over 4. Okay? We're going to solve this later. It's going to be that negative 1 thing we talked about to get rid of this. Okay, now you're going to try one on your own. Are you ready?
Wait, can we solve this first?
No, we're going to solve it later. Just take it to the negative 1. I'm going to show you how to put it in your calculator as the second part, but I want to make sure we get the matrices part done first. Okay, here's our equation. We've got 3x minus 2y equals 7 and y plus 4x equals 8. What's wrong with this problem? Can I create a matrices right away? No, because it's not in what? Standard form. Put it in standard form, then write your equation. I should not be able to hear anybody's phone because it should not be on, because you should be taking notes. Okay, you ready? You tried it yet? What do we have to do to make this into standard form? We have to switch the 4x and the y, right? Okay. Then we're going to get our equation should be 3, negative 2, 4, 1, xy equals 7, 8. Anybody have a question about how I got that? We're okay with, see how the 3 is in front of the x? So we put the 3 first. See how the negative 2 is in front of the y? So I put the negative 2 next. So far, so good? Okay, now the x and y up here are in the wrong spots, right? So if I put x here first, I got to put x below it first. So that's why the 4 went there. And there's a 1 in front of the y, right? So that's why there's a 1 there. Equals 7 or 8. Okay, you ready to try one? We're going to try one that has 3 variables. You ready? Okay. All right. We've got 3a minus 5b plus 2c equals 9. And 4a plus 7b plus c equals 3. And 2a minus c equals 12. Now, these look like they're all lined up. All the a's come first, b's come second, c's come third, and then the equal sign. So you should be set to make your matrices. Make sure it goes A, B, 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 C, C, C. What do we do for the third B? What do you think, guys?
Nothing.
What should we put there? Not a 1, but a 0. Just going to give you a minute to try it. Just try it. Remember, parent-teacher conferences are coming up. You do not want me to tell your parent, guardian, whoever comes to check up on you that you literally were not taking notes and doing nothing while I'm teaching. Okay, guys, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's give it a try. You should get, oops. 3, -5, 2, 4, 7, 1, 2, 0, -1, where it's A, B, C, 9, 3, 12. How do we do, guys?
Yes.
Good. All right, now we're going to talk about solving the equation. Ready? It's not that bad. It's all in your calculator. Okay. So we're going to talk about solving a matrices. To solve the matrices of the equation, get the variable matrices alone on one side. Get rid of the coefficient matrices by multiplying its inverse. Okay? If you missed writing all this down, don't worry about it. We'll do an example, which I think will be better. Okay, so if we've got a matrices like this, when solving the matrices equations, we will always multiply by the inverse matrices on the left side of the coefficient and constraint matrix. Remember, commutative property does not hold. So we will just do -2 minus 6, 3 to the 11th, -1, this whole thing times x to the y times this whole thing times this. Okay? The left side of the equation simplifies to the identity times the variable matrix, giving us just the matrix. This is the important part. This is what we need right here at the bottom. -2 over 3, -6 to the 11 to the -1, 0 to 4. Just like I showed you for the warm-up today. Okay? So, let's write this part here down at the top. We're going to use the calculator. We can simplify the left side. The coefficient matrices will be A and the constant matrices will be B. We will find A to the -1B. Okay? So this is really straightforward. We're going to stop right here and I'm going to pull up my calculator. Hold on. And we are going to look at how to put it in the calculator. Okay. So, okay. All right. So here we are in the calculator. Okay. I'm going to go to a calculator page. Notice right over here, this shows up in red what I click. This shows up with what your screen should look like. This is very important. Your next quiz is all about putting this stuff in the calculator. So please hold your calculator in your hand and try putting this in. Okay? We're going to try to put in the last thing I had up here. Okay? If you don't have it, I've got it on mine, so we should be okay. So first, we're going to open a calculator page.
What did you do by saying?
Yeah. I'm going to clear mine. Okay, so here's my plain calculator page. I'm going to hit this funky little button right over here next to the 9. Okay, and it gives me lots of different options. I'm always going to go down here to this matrix right here, right in the middle. There's nothing above it. There's gray below it. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? I'm going to click on that. And it's going to ask me how many rows, how many columns. In this case, I've got a 2 by 2 matrices. So it should show up like this when you click on it. So far, so good? Want me to do all that again? Got it, Abby, or no? Okay, so we're going to type in -2, tab -6. Then we're going to type in 3 and 11. How are we doing? -2, -6 is the top row. 3, 11 is the next row. Okay. So now I'm going to move my cursor so it's in the outside. See how it's on the outside of the bracket? Then I'm going to push my little caret, which makes a little box show up in the corner. And I'm going to put -1. Then I'm going to move my cursor over.
You have to make another one and do X, Y.
So I got that little -1, like the box to show up the -1, Abby, is right here. This button right here. See how it showed up in red?
Oh, yeah,
Right next to there. It's all good. I got it. Okay. Then we hit the matrices button again. Except this time we want 2 rows and 1 column. Should look like that. And we're going to go 0 on the top, 4 on the bottom. If you have 3 variables by 3 variables, you might need to do a matrices. I've done a matrices in real life before to solve a problem.
You do it every, like...
Yes, but I don't do it. I didn't do it for math class for my students. I did it for an issue that I was having at home.
You could use it for a lot of pages.
And it's going to make, like, no, it was like I had, this is an example, I don't think this was true, but like I was trying to figure out how much something cost, just like the pizza problem. That's why I used that. Like I had, you know, it was one of those situations where I didn't have a menu with the answers.
Or something is actually a bundle, figure out how much each one costs.
So do you just hear Josh? It's like when you do it on Amazon. You're going to care if you save money and you lose money for it. Now just push enter. Your answer should be -6 and 2. So -6 is X and 2 is Y. It's done. You notice that for this, you didn't have to do the elimination method. You didn't have to do substitution. You didn't have to do graphing.
That's so easy.
We just did matrices. Okay, it's just, excuse me, I'm not sure why anyone but me is talking. All we're doing is matrices. It's a quicker way to do it. When you have 2 variables, X and Y, I get why you're like, why didn't I just do elimination method or substitution or graphing? It's so quicker. But you get when I do 3. You guys saw me do 3. It took a long time. It's much more helpful when we do 3. Okay, so and I don't want to go back to the beginning. So you cannot do it on your calculator at home, but you can set them up at home. So what you're going to do is set them up. For example, we had this matrices and we set it up. So we are going to do more of them. So we've got this, we get this, and then we found the answer was -6 and 2. You can check this by graphing or a substitution. So let's talk about the advantages. Why am I going to do this? Basically, all you have to do is put the coefficient matrices as A and the constraint matrices as B, and it will always work. You don't have to worry about graphing it incorrectly. You don't have to worry about the mistakes that you make with substitution or elimination by like forgetting a negative or not doing it correctly. It just does it for you. There's almost no bad thing for this. No solving for y. Okay? Yes?
Do you always have to put the -1? Or
Yes.
was that-
You always have to put the -1. Okay? So if we're solving this, we plug the coefficient matrices as A, put in the constraint matrices as B, and you'll get that as your answer. See, like, who wants to get 2 and 1/11 and -4/11 as their answer? You're going to think you did it wrong, right? But if you do it in the matrices, you will get it right each time.
Get that answer though. In matrices.
Hmm?
I mean, if I got that weird ass answer, I think I got it wrong.
Well, I'm going to tell you that with matrices, like this next quiz, you're going to have a lot of weird answers. So you won't think you're wrong because I'm going to tell you that that's what you're going to get. Okay? So here we are. Let's try one more.
Okay.
You guys just need to set this up in a matrices, and then I'm going to give you your homework, and you'll set those up. So try this one, set it up as a matrices. We've got R, S, and T. So let's talk about what's alphabetical order. What comes first, R, S, or T? R. Okay? So where you're going to list, you got it in matrices. So when we do our matrices, I'm going to do this on the whiteboard here, and then I'll put the answer up on the board. We've got R's. The first equation, what's the number in front of the first R? 1. Okay. Second equation, is there any R's? No, so I'm going to put what? Not 1, I'm going to put 0. Okay. Third matrices, how many R's are there? 3. Okay. All right, now we're going to do S. First equation, how many S's are there? -1. Okay, yep, if there's no R's, it'd be 0. How many S's are in equation 2? 2. 2 S's, right? How many S's are in equation 3? 0. Good. Okay. Equation 1, how many T's are there? 3. Equation 2, how many T's are there? Yes, -1, perfect. Okay, equation 3, how many T's are there? 2. Okay, now we know that this equation, we're talking about R, S, and T. That's our, like, variable. And then our last one, our constant, we're just going to list it from the top to the bottom. So we got -8, 15, and -7. Okay? Right? So if we're going to the next, finish it up. It's just exactly like how we have it on the board. 1, -1, 3, 0, 2, -1, 3, 0, 2, R, S, T, -8, 15, and -7. Okay? If we're going to solve, remember, we just take this big one right here, times it to the -1, times -8, 15, -7, and we get our answer. Our answer is -3, 8, and 1. Yes?
So the only way we can find the answer is if we put it in the calculator?
Yeah. There's a whole longer process that you can actually do it where you like multiply this row by that, and then this row by that, and then this row by that, and then this column by that. I'm not making you do it by hand. You may in a college class at some point have to do it by hand. I will not make you do it in this class. Okay? So for your homework, you're not going to get this. You're just going to set it up like this. Got it? When you come in, your warm-up for the day is going to be now solve it, because now you'll have a calculator. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, word problem systems. The sum of 3 numbers is 12. X plus Y plus Z equals 12. The first is 5 times the second. X equals 5Y. The sum of the first and the third is 9. You see how I already have 3 equations? No one wants to solve these 3 equations by doing that. You put it in a matrix. It solves it for you. Okay? Word problems get more and more complicated. In life, there's not always 2 variables. There's oftentimes 3, just like I showed you with the pizza problem. Okay, let me show you what your homework's going to look like. Okay, so your homework is going to look like this. Sorry about, I don't know. I don't know how to make it better with the lighting. Sorry. Okay, so you've got 4 equations where you just have 2 variables and 1 where you have 3. Remember, you're doing that whole matrixy thing where you have this, you have x and y. Okay? Remember, for here, you're going to have the x and the y, then the x and the y, then the answers right here. That's the whole homework. You're just setting it up. When we come into class tomorrow, you're going to take this to the -1 times this, and we'll come up with the answer. That's going to be the warm-up. Got it? Questions? Okay, I'm stopping this and passing out the homework.